So let's get back to lip service. I love this show because I could talk music with
Thank you.
anybody all day, every day. Tell me some of your favorite episodes of Lip Service, and also tell me how you got involved with Spin Magazine.
Sure. I started doing the podcast probably 4 or 5 years ago, Scott. I started working with a company called Dash Radio, which you might know. It was sort of like a competitor to Sirius early on.
Hmm.
And I met someone that got me on that radio. It was sort of a digital radio station. I didn't really, again, had no idea what I was doing early on. Randy Jackson was, I think, my second guest, and Randy's great. You just press
I
record,
love
as you
Randy.
know. Yeah,
I've known Randy since the '80s. Yeah.
I love him. He talks, you don't have to do much. And then someone heard that episode and said, I think you have a knack for this. I didn't really have a knack for it. It was Randy that carried the show. But, I think the success of the episodes is really based on how great your guests are. I've definitely interviewed some guests like in the last couple of years are not the easiest. I'm sure you've had some of those where it's hard to get like stories out of people. It's hard to get them to
Yeah.
talk. And so, I'm still learning how to navigate those waters when they're not great interviewees. I hooked up with Spin Magazine a couple years after I started doing the show. I just interviewed Stuart Copeland the other day, which was great because as a drummer, it's always a
I
thrill
saw
for me
those
when I can
clips. That's
interview.
so great. That
Yeah,
was
I mean,
funny.
when you're interviewing some of the best drummers in the world, it's always like a high for me. So my probably my fourth interview with Anthony was Anthony Kiedis of the Chili Peppers. I think my second or third interview ever was David Lee Roth. I sometimes listen back at that episode because I had no idea what I was doing. It was like a runaway train. Dave walked in and he was like, "What's this episode about? If you want to talk about the past, it's not your lucky day." And I wanted to talk Van Halen because that's what I thought the show would have been interesting to talk about.